Toronto Maple Leafs GM Brad Treliving pulled off an absolute masterclass today by making the team cap compliant and also signing two new players to contract. In this video, I'm going to talk about how big these moves made were today and how he got this team under the salary cap without making a trade. And I'm going to break it all down for you guys coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 71% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date on everything that's happening around the league, around the Leafs, heading into this season, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But that said, before we get into Brad's masterclass of a day, we got to talk about Easton Cowan. Cowan going back to the O, and yes, a couple of days ago, we did talk about how Easton Cowan made it to the last round of cuts and looked very well in his preseason. But today was confirmed by Leafs PR. We'll just bring it up here now that the Leafs have loaned Easton Cowan back to the London Knights of the OHL. And yes, it is a hard pill to swallow for Toronto Maple Leafs fans because a lot of people did want to see Easton Cowan get into this lineup this season and see what he could do and how he could perform for this Leafs team that's ultimately looking to win the Stanley Cup this season. But now hearing he's going to be loaned back to the OHL is definitely great still for his development. I mean, we've seen him have such an insane year in the OHL last year, the biggest year-to-year jump in a while for a player in the OHL. So just getting him back there, getting him out there, just dominating the OHL is going to be great for him. He's going to learn he's going back with new skills he's learned from this training camp and playing with the Leafs in this preseason, and he's going to work harder so the next time he's in the training camp in the preseason, he will make this lineup. And unfortunately for him, you know, you had guys come in like Lawrence and Pacioretty and Nick Robertson all in this preseason who played the same position as him, and ultimately they're going to go with veteran guys when they're looking to go through a deep playoff run. If this was a Leafs team who, you know, were younger and they weren't really expected, like a Montreal Canadiens, we'll say, to make it very far this season, we could have definitely seen this guy on the roster this year. But unfortunately, the Leafs are, you know, looking for those veterans to help them in a long playoff run, and that's what they got with Pacioretty and Steven Lawrence coming in on a PTO. But I'm really excited to see what Cowan can do in the OHL because I expect a really, really big year out of him, and I think next year it wouldn't be too far out of the realm to maybe see him make this opening night roster. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Easton Cowan down below in the comment section. We're going to get into the main topic of the video today, which is Brad Treliving Cooked, and he had 100% cooked because there has been so many moves today that it's hard to follow as a Leafs fan. So I put it all together for you guys in this video to explain how Brad Treliving made this Leafs team go under the cap by also signing two players to regular contracts. So we're just start out with some moves that they made today. If we just go to the first one here, we see that forwards Connor Dewar with an upper body injury, Fraser Minton with a lower body injury are now on injured reserve. So some of their cap will be held in injured reserve. They also have Yarncroke with a lower body, Yanni Hakanpää with a lower body, and Dakota Mermis with an upper body, all being placed on long-term injury reserve. So it's looking like these players are going to be out long-term. I would say is probably like a 4 weeks or a month or a bit longer for some of these players to return, like Hakanpää and Yarncroke. Not quite sure on the Mermis injury. Don't think we have heard too much about that, but obviously Hakanpää has been battling something ever since he's signed. There was question marks surrounding is he ever going to play, but you know, obviously they signed him, so they do want him to play. So once he comes off the injured reserve, you know, he will be playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't expect these players to be on long-term IR all season. I think just for now, so that Brad could get this team under the cap, he had to put these players on long term, and obviously they needed to be out long term. If they didn't need to be out long term, they wouldn't have put them on long term IR. So that takes three players full caps, you know, into the LTIR. Their caps do not, or their contracts do not go against the current cap because they are long term on long-term IR. And if we just go to the next one here, we see Matt Murray and Marshall Rafai were also placed on waivers yesterday, and today they did clear on waivers, so that is extra cap that is out of the Toronto Maple Leafs hands now. So if you're taking counts here, it's about 5 or 6 players that their cap is either going to be somewhat against their contracts going to be somewhat against the cap, like an injury reserve, or the LTIR and the waivers, where the cap is not going to affect them anymore. So we're getting into it here now, because next what they went out and did with this extra space of money, they went out and signed Max Pacioretty at an $873,000 one-year contract, and they also went out and signed Steven Lorentz to a one-year $775,000 contract. So now they've took the money that they put on LTIR, that they moved down to the minors, that they put on the injury reserve, and put it towards 2 veteran forwards who they had on PTOs in this preseason. Yes, it is a bit tangly here, but Pacioretty also has a games played bonus, which could reach up to $600K, but it doesn't affect this year's cap. It would go against next year's cap if he does reach this bonus. And Elliot Friedman says here, Toronto is squeezing to maximize its space. And I mean, that is one way of putting it, Elliot Friedman, because I mean, if we just quickly recap what happened here, Brad Treliving cooked. He put players like Hakanpää and like Dewar and these guys on injury reserve, on long-term injury reserve, so that their contracts either somewhat affect the cap or don't affect the cap at all. But they also then went and put Matt Murray and Marcel Rafai down to the AHL, clearing waivers, which also freed up some more space, which then allowed them to go out and get their 2 veteran left wings that they had on PTO. And this is just an absolute masterclass by Brad Treliving, because a lot of people thought that they were going to have to trade someone out here to make this cap situation work. But Brad Treliving, he brought out the calculator and he figured it out some way to do this while keeping everybody on the team and adding 2 new players into the mix. I mean, this is just an all-time GM move in my books, by making the team a lot stronger by bringing in these 2 veteran guys, Max Pacioretty, who looked very well in this preseason. Not to knock on Steven Lorentz, because I think he looked very well in this preseason as well. They're going to have some extra forwards here now that they can play with. Pacioretty is such a great signing. He's going to help them in this bottom 6 this season. And also Steven Lorentz, I think he's going to be more of the extra forward, I would say. But I think this is some great moves, some great things by Brad Treliving done today, that now they're under the cap. They don't need to worry about it heading into the season. He somehow pulled the trick out of his hat to make this team cap compliant without trading anyone, which is absolutely insane. Great move by Brad Treliving, and the Leafs are looking good going into this season. Obviously, you got some injuries here that we talked about a bit earlier, but you know what? There's always injuries going around in the world of hockey, unfortunately. So hopefully we do get to see this team fully healthy at some point. Hopefully we get to see guys like Hakanpää come off LTIR and be that 7th D for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I will be very exciting, because once these guys do come off LTIR, they're going to need to make a trade before this even happens, so that they're not over the cap during the regular season. But I'm really excited that Brad Treliving actually managed to pull this off, and it's just absolutely crazy that he managed to pull this off the way that he did, and it just shows how great of a GM he is, and how great Toronto fans are how lucky Toronto fans are to have him as the GM of their franchise. But that's all the moves today by the Toronto Maple Leafs. What are your thoughts on all this down below? Did you think, like me, a trade was definitely coming? Let me know down below in the comment section. We're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Jim. Jim says Marner is going to have an amazing year. 1 for the money, and 2 for... 2 with all the big teammates back him up, and the other teams and the other teams won't be able to have their way with him. Obviously, he's saying here that Marner's going to have a good year because he's going into a contract year. He's going to want more money, but he's also going to have a good year because he has big teammates there like a Ryan Reeves, now a Max Pacioretty, guys like Max Domi who are there to protect him, and that will allow him to free him up and just be the exceptional player that he is. So appreciate the comment there, Jim. Appreciate you showing your support here on the channel. If you guys want to be featured featured on the next comment of the day. Make sure to leave a comment on this video. Also, if you enjoyed this one, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 5,000 subscribers here before the season starts. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did the other day, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.